So I'm going to read a little bit more from Myths and Legends. So I left off on the underworld. It says, the underworld is usually seen as a parallel world to our own, with its own deities. In most cultures, it is populated by the souls of the dead and fenced off by rivers, walls, or flames, making it impossible for living mortals to enter. Souls pass through on their way to a new life, or spend an eternity among the demons of this dark realm. Rulers of the underworld. The ruler of the underworld has supreme power there, acting with the authority of an earthly ruler, and as such is one of the most feared beings of the cosmos. He or she is also often a judge, hearing each newly arrived soul's account of its life in the world of the living before passing sentence. Underworld rulers vary greatly in their appearance. Some look like decaying corpses, while others are so dark that they are barely visible. So up here it says, Mictlantecuhtli. The Aztec underworld has 9 layers, the deepest of which is Mictlan, which ruled over by the terrifying Mictlantecuhtli. Over here it says Yama. In Tibetan and Chinese Buddhism, Yama is the king of hell and judge of the dead. He is said to be directly answerable to the supreme ruler of heaven. Hell, here. The Norse ruler of the dead. Hel is said to recline on a bed called disease, where her lower body rots while her face remains beautiful. And Hades, the ruler of the gloomy Greek underworld, bears the same name as his kingdom and is usually invisible in his dark domain. Chthonic creatures. The underworld would be frightening enough if it was populated solely by a ruler and the souls of the dead, but mythologies and add to its terrors by imagining all kinds of hellish demons and monsters. Creatures that exist either to terrify the souls or inflict agony on them. In addition, the gates of the underworld are usually guarded to prevent the mortals intruding and souls attempting to escape. Cerberus, the guard dog of Hades, is one of the most famous of these chthonic or underworld creatures. Some accounts give him 3 heads, others 50. Hermes. The Greek god Hermes escorted souls to Hades. Some sources say that as he was a trickster deity, he cannot be fooled into neglecting this task. Guiding the dead. A dark and remote place, the underworld is not easy to reach or find, so some cultures tell of figures called psychopomps who lead the souls of the dead on their way. Images of these guides are often found on coffins or on the walls of tombs to ensure that the dead person's soul has a safe passage. Psychopomps can take many different forms, although a number of them have wings or inhabit the bodies of birds for swift flight to and from the underworld. Baron Samedi. The spirit Baron Samedi is a key figure in Haitian voodoo. He is said to wait at crossroads where dead souls will pass, ready to guide them to the underworld. Angu. In the folklore of the Breton people of Western Europe, Ankou gathered up the souls of the dead in an old cart. Xolotl. In some stories, this dog-shaped Aztec god created the human race, but so hated his handiwork that he took on the job of leading the dead to the underworld. Charon, or Charon? The classical underworld Hades was surrounded by the dark waters of the river Styx. For the fee of a single coin placed on the dead person's tongue, the ferryman Charon took his or her soul across in his boat. Underworld goddesses. Many goddesses of darkness are associated with the underworld. Some act as queens there, alongside male rulers. Others have a less clear but equally terrifying role, some even visiting Earth. Because of the contrast between the light Earth and the dark underworld, many are also linked with the sun, rain, and fertility. Izanami. This Japanese creator goddess was so badly burned when she gave birth to a fire spirit, Kagutsuchi, that she went down to rule Yomi, the underworld. Hecate, a Greek moon goddess and queen of the ghosts of Hades, Hecate led her troop of howling, dancing spirits on terrifying visits to Earth. Mari. In the Basque region of Spain, Mari was a rain-bringing fertility goddess who came out of the underworld realm by way of mountain caves. Persephone. When this beautiful Greek goddess of fertility was kidnapped by Hades, Zeus decreed that she should spend half the year in his world and half on Earth, where she could make crops grow. The labors of Hercules, or Heracles. The hero Heracles, renowned for his great strength, was the son of Zeus and the mortal woman Alcmene. Zeus's wife Hera was jealous of the affair and resentful towards. It's spelled Heracles, but I'm used to saying it Hercules. Anyways, she persecuted him throughout his life. The hero married Megara, daughter of King Creon of Thebes, but Hera made him go mad and kill his wife and children. To punish Heracles, King Eurystheus of Mycenae set him 12 apparently impossible tasks to accomplish. The Stymphalian birds. This vase shows Heracles shooting the Stymphalian birds with a sling, a more effective weapon than his club or bow. Heracles and the bull. The powerful bull of Crete was the target of Heracles' seventh labor. The hero needed all his strength to subdue the beast. The myth. The labors imposed on Hercules by King Eurystheus involved slaying horrific monsters, bringing back trophies for the king, and other tasks, each of which was more difficult and sent the hero on a longer journey than the preceding one. The first labor was to kill the lion of Nemea, not far from Mycenae. Heracles throttled the beast and skinned it, taking the creature's pelt as his cloak. The second labor was to slay the Hydra, a water monster with many heads that lived at Lerna. Heracles found that each time he cut off one of the creature's heads, 2 new ones grew, so he asked his helper Iolaus to cauterize the stumps to stop the new heads growing. The third labor was to capture and bring back the Carenian hind, a golden horned deer consecrated to the goddess Artemis. This involved the hero in a long chase, but eventually he succeeded. The fourth task was to seize the Erymanthean boar, a fierce creature that posed little problem for Hercules. With Athena's help, next Heracles undertook 2 tasks that required more ingenuity. He was helped in these by Athena, the goddess of wisdom. For the 5th labor, he was told to go to Elis and clean the stables of King Alcaeus, which were fouled with great heaps of horse dung. Heracles ingeniously cleared out the stables by diverting 2 rivers so that they washed the mess away. Then, for his 6th labor, Heracles had to visit Lake Stymphalis, northwest of Mycenae, to rid it of a plague of birds. He frightened the birds with castanets that Athena had lent him, then shot them as they flew into the air. Farther afield, for his subsequent labors, Heracles had to travel farther, leaving mainland Greece. His 7th labor was to capture a monstrous bull belonging to King Minos of Crete. After that, he was sent north to Thrace, where he caught some man-eating mares that belonged to King Diomedes. The 9th, 10th, and 11th labors required Heracles to steal items of great value. First, he took the belt of Hippolyta, queen of the Amazons, who lived to the south of the Black Sea. Next, he sent away the cattle of the giant Geryon, who dwelled in the far west. After this, he managed to obtain the golden apples of Hesperides, but even these labors were straightforward compared to the 12th, to go to the underworld and bring back its guard dog, Cerberus. To the amazement of Eurystheus, Heracles succeeded in this seemingly impossible feat too. The monsters of Greece. Like other Greek heroes, such as Perseus, Heracles was tested during confrontations with numerous creatures, many of whom were monsters that would terrify most people. These creatures ranged from the Nemean lion, an animal of supreme strength, to monstrous creatures such as the 3-headed dog Cerberus, which seemed to come from the world of horror and nightmare. But by overcoming them, Heracles was able to demonstrate both his superhuman strength and his exceptional bravery. He also gained some of these combats by adopting the attributes of his adversaries. For example, he took the lion's skin as his cloak and the hydra's gall to poison his arrowheads. The Nemean lion. Wrestling the Nemean lion brought Heracles into danger from the animal's claws and jaws, but he finally prevailed. The Hydra. Heracles dispatched the multi-headed Hydra with the help of Iolaus. As Heracles cut off each head, Iolaus cauterized the stumps. The Erymanthean boar. When Heracles brought the vicious boar to Eurystheus, the frightened king hid from the beast by climbing into a large storage jar. Cerberus. After showing the terrifying guard dog of the underworld to Eurystheus, Heracles returned the creature to Hades, its master. Heracles and Nessus. Heracles was traveling with his 3rd wife, Deianira, when they met a centaur called Nessus, who offered to carry Deianira across the river. When they were across the river and safe distance from Heracles, Nessus raped Deianira, but Heracles saw what was happening and shot the centaur with one of his deadly arrows. As he died, Nessus told Deianira that if she wove Heracles' shirt from the hairs of his back, the wearer would never leave her for another woman. Sometime later, Deianira suspected her husband's fidelity and gave him the shirt to wear. But when Heracles put the shirt on, he discovered it was an evil trick. Its hairs made his skin blister and burn as if attacked by flames. In agony and begging for death, the hero asked to be put in his funeral pyre. Heracles fighting the centaur. The centaur Nessus had once been defeated in a fight with Heracles and longed for revenge. On his funeral pyre, as the smoke from Heracles' pyre reached the heavens, Zeus saw his agony. He drew him up to Olympus and made him a god. The Heroes' Club. King Thespius, ruler of a kingdom called Thespiae, was troubled by a lion that attacked his cattle. Thespius' men had failed in killing the lion, so Heracles volunteered to try. He made himself an enormous club by tearing up an olive tree. He clubbed the lion to death and was allowed to sleep with all but one of Thespius' 50 daughters as a reward. A formidable weapon, the legendary club of Heracles, with which he overcame many opponents, was so heavy that only he could pick it up and wield it with ease. The character of Heracles. First and foremost, Heracles is a hero, a figure of incredible strength and outstanding bravery, but ancient Greek writers treat his character in different ways according to the parts of his story they are narrating. For example, in The Children of Heracles, Euripides portrays him as the tragic figure who kills his own children, but in another play, Alcestis, he gets comically drunk. Sophocles deals with the hero's relationship with his wife, Deianira, and other writers concentrate on his heroic adventures. Theseus and the Minotaur. The Minotaur was a monstrous flesh-eating creature, half man, half bull. Minos, the king of Crete, kept it imprisoned in a labyrinth near his palace. According to a treaty between Minos and Aegeus, the king of Athens, 14 young people had to be sent every year from Athens to be devoured by it. But the Greek hero Theseus resolved to kill the creature and put an end to the carnage. Theseus kills the Minotaur. The Minotaur almost managed to defeat Theseus in battle, but the hero fought courageously and stabbed the monster with his sword. Someone just came back. I'm gonna stop the video, I think. Let's read this bottom caption. Leaving the labyrinth, the central portion of this vessel from Greece shows Theseus dragging his dead victim out of its prison. As he retraces his steps through the labyrinth using Ariadne's thread. So I'll just mark the top here, because that's where I left off. And then I'll continue reading in another video. So yeah, thank you for watching my videos. Hope it helped you fall asleep a little bit.